in progress is in session.
Just two friends having casual conversation.
We were talking earlier, how did we come up with the idea? I'm pretty sure it was mine to have a podcast.
It absolutely was. Because we're talking about relationships, and we've always had this idea that we want to do something like grander. And you were like, we should write a book. And I was like, yeah, we should. I'd be down to do that with you. And then we were like talking, and you were like, we should do a podcast. And I was like, oh yeah, we should.
You remember what we were talking about when it came to relationships?
Oh gosh, we've always had this like evolving conversation about relationships. Your relationship, my relationship.
I feel like we were talking about almost like emotional safety.
Yeah.
You know, I think we were talking about emotional safety, and I think that a lot of guys don't understand actually emotional safety. They hear a woman say, I don't feel safe, they instantly they think that, what do you mean?
Right. It's almost like they have to defend it. Like, I do all these things. What do you mean you don't feel safe? It's not about that.
Yeah.
And emotional safety isn't guaranteed in a relationship just because we've been together or you know this or you know that. It's about, like, saying what you mean and meaning what you say and showing up and
being consistent.
Yeah, and keeping true to your word. Like, if you say, I'm going to get you gas in your car, and I get up in the morning and I have to stop at the gas, I'm going to be fucking pissed.
I always use, like, emotional safety, like, my fist and, like, around here, like, right? So somebody feels this emotionally safe around someone this close, they feel this emotional safe, right? And it's like, you take your partner and just, like, kind of, like, gauge how emotionally safe do you think they feel. I'd say most guys will go, like, this is the safest, they'll be like, they feel this safe. And I would say that 90% of the time, that's just not freaking true.
I would agree with you.
Yeah, and usually it's a consistency thing.
It is, because it's dependability. How much can I really rely on you? Can I trust you to do this? Like, because if you always tell me you're going to do this and you always back out last minute, or there's always a reason or there's always an excuse, what you're actually teaching me, your conditioning, is that you are not a trustworthy person, that I cannot rely on you, that you are not dependable. So it can be a really minute thing. I will stop and get milk on my way home, don't worry.
Yeah. Or everything becomes a chore when something is requested. I remember early in my marriage with my wife, she would ask me to go to the store for things, and I would just begrudgingly be like, yeah, okay, fine, I guess. And everything was a chore when she would ask me to do something. And it was almost like her just trying to have to, like, pull it out of me to do something.
As a wife, I feel like that is a true statement.
Yeah, and most wives will probably say they agree with that, you know? And now I see it more because me and my wife are separated. I see it more now how you have the ability to say no.
Right. I'm going to shift gears a little. I'm going to talk about my kid. When I say, hey, I'm going to the studio, I have to work, I'm going to be busy from like 12 to 5. Don't come out. Don't call me. And she'll text me, Mom. And it's not about pushing boundaries. It's about, will she choose me even when she's busy? It's the same thing in a marriage.
Yeah.
When life gets hectic, when life gets busy, will you still choose to show up consistently?
I think consistency, and a lot of people go, but Kelley, I show up consistent all the time. I pay the bills. I do this. I do that. And that's just, I mean, that's nice and everything, and that's like protector status for a husband. Sure, that's great, but that's not really showing up like how you need to.
Right. That's partnership.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
I can do that with a friend.
Right. We did that.
I can do that with a freaking friend, you know?
I feel like we did that in our early friendship, like, you know. But it's the other things. Like, I can't get my intimate needs met by my friend, like on the emotional level. I can't, like, break down, and I mean, you know me for a long time. I don't get, like, super vulnerable with my friends. Like, I need time in the safety of my own home, take it all off and be bare with it and not
just be you.
Right. And not have this overwhelming pressure to, like, perform or put on a mask or be someone I'm not. Like, I need to be real and I need to be me. And if I can't trust you with that, for something as simple as, like, you can't follow through on what you say,
Mm-hmm.
Like, how am I supposed to trust you with all these other pieces?
Well, you know what sucks too is that we don't really do anything in at least America about how to make people into better human beings for relationships. You know,
no,
it's all about our parents
mm-hmm.
helping. I definitely became my dad in my marriage. Super angry, upset, not know how to handle my emotions, my feelings, don't know how to do any of that stuff. Just become angry, and also too, I'm always right. The other person can't be wrong.
At the end of the day, it's my house, my say.
Yeah, eventually it came to a head where I was just like, I do not want to become that person.
Yeah.
No, and that person is not happy. I'm telling you right now, that person is not a happy person. When it comes to guys and relationships, you don't really have anybody teach anybody anything.
You don't.
Yeah.
You don't.
I was watching the Moms show, the Teen Moms. Watching the series, and it was the kid who's an addict, and he hid it from the teen mom. And I remember he like eventually got to the point, and he's in front of her, and he had relapsed, and she like confronted him on it, and he was like, I don't know what to do. She was like, you are a grown man. He goes, and I agree with you 100%. I still don't know what the hell to do right now. And I was just like, and she became so soft and okay in that moment. She really did. She was like, well, I think that maybe some treatment might be necessary. And he goes, man, I didn't even think about it. Like, he's blown away, all right? Because he, at least one thing I'll give that guy, he admitted he didn't know what to do. Where other guys are just like walking around being like, I know what to do.
Right. And then the other thing is like, there's this huge narrative for men that you have to figure it all out. You have to know. You have to have the answers.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to figure it out. You can't ask people for help. Like, I was having this conversation with one of my other friends, and, you know, it's like my husband asked me for help with rent a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because he wasn't working, work was short, he was out of work for like, and he asked me for like a couple $100. And I was like, yeah, I got you. And, I remember I was talking to my other friend, and he was like, I would like sell stuff before I ever asked my wife for help.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what? He's like, I'm serious. Like, I'm a man. I'm like, what does that have to do with you paying your rent? Like, I think I would for sure.
He was like, I don't know what to do. She was like, you are a grown man. He goes, and I agree with you 100%. I still don't know what the hell to do right now. And I was just like, and she became so soft and okay in that moment. She really did. She was like, well, I think that maybe some treatment might be necessary. And he goes, man, I didn't even think about it. Like, he's blown away, all right? Because he, at least one thing I'll give that guy, he admitted he didn't know what to do. Where other guys are just like walking around being like, I know what to do.
And then the other thing is there's this huge narrative for men that you have to figure it all out. You have to know. You have to have the answers.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to figure it out. You can't ask people for help. Like, I was having this conversation with one of my other friends, and, you know, it's like my husband asked me for help with rent a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because he wasn't working, work was short, he was out of work for like, and he asked me for like a couple $100. And I was like, yeah, I got you. And I remember I was talking to my other friend, he was like, I would like sell stuff before I ever asked my wife for help. What? He's like, I'm serious. Like, I'm a man. I'm like, what does that have to do with you paying me? I would for sure know I was like not safe with my husband if he lied to me about like the financial stability of our house. I'd rather know. And so like there's this thing that happens, especially in today's society, that men are supposed to have it all figured out. They're not supposed to be emotional. They're supposed to carry their wives, their children. They're supposed to lead. They're not supposed to have any vulnerability. You know, blah blah blah, whatever. And then at the same side, women are also expected to step out of their femininity and figure it out. And I'm like, it's not working. I'm not saying like I would love it if my husband made a couple $100,000 a year and I could just sit at home and do nothing and it'd be pretty. But also at the same time, like, that wouldn't be my life.
I mean, also too though, I think that when it comes to, for instance, like guys saying no, there's a lot of guys who don't know how or when to say no. They really don't. And I was one of them. I definitely did not know how to say no in a marriage. I've never been married before. I thought being married meant you say yes to everything.
No.
And you don't figure that out until you don't know that you're supposed to have your own life outside the marriage.
I think that that's really hard in just relationships, period.
Yeah.
Because when you have your own when you have your own life, people, like, it's kind of funny, right? Like, I have my own life, I have my own relationships, I have friendships with men outside of the sanctity of my relationship with my husband. And people are like, how are you best friends with a dude? Like, oh, obviously there's something more going on. No, there's not.
I think also, too, me being queer might have something to play into it just a little bit.
Probably, but
when you met me, I was straight. Yeah.
You were straight, and so I didn't like you. But it was really funny because after I got to know you and you came out as queer to me, like, you became a safe person to me, and I was like, oh my God, this all makes sense. Mm-hmm. And the way I explain it to people is I didn't like you when you weren't being authentic. Mm-hmm. And once you became authentic, that's where our friendship really took off. But I still, like, my friend Cole, he's a heterosexual male. And he's one of the safest people I've ever, But I think I don't know, people get really carried away in, like, what marriage is supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And those ideals. And they paint them across the board. Like, you can't be a traditional housewife. But your husband needs to make sure all the bills are paid and stand alone. And, like, then if you are a traditional wife, like, you're a slave or you're brainwashed or you're, like...
I mean, we don't even teach people how to be romantic.
No.
Right? We don't. Guys are probably, like, the worst at romance if there ever was one. And people are like, some people have asked me, but Kelley, I mean, you can't lump every guy. Yeah, I agree. But I'll tell you right now, I've met a lot of guys in my life, and I have met very, very few actual romantic, like when I hear them doing what they're doing for their wife or their significant other, I'm like, God dang, they're like the best thing since sliced bread. Because, like, we always teach romance from the movies.
Right. One of the most romantic things that my husband ever did for me, he did it with the help of my best girlfriend. Mm-hmm. And
is this the Valentine's Day thing?
Yep.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah, I know
He's
it.
living in another state. And I thought it was, like, all her idea. Because he doesn't make gestures. And I'm the type of person, like, I have pulled my husband aside and been like, listen, if you do X, Y, and Z, not today, not tomorrow, not in a month from now, just like on a random Tuesday, right? If you do this, just know that'll make me feel loved.
Fucking God bless you.
And put it in your back. And put it in your back pocket and save it for later. And he does. And I come from a world that, like,
you didn't say what he did on Valentine's Day. They probably don't want to know.
Okay, so for Valentine's Day, he had my best friend come over. She went and made me a candy bouquet full of, like, Reese's and 100 grand, and, like, put this whole arrangement, and then roses and balloons on the table, and a little box with these heart cutouts that said all the things that he loved.
Wow. That's very good. Now, what was the best part, though?
That he did it.
But right after that, how did you find out about it?
I just came home. He didn't tell me.
Exactly.
Hey, there was a surprise. Mm-hmm. And what's really crazy is me and my best friend, we track each other's location. Mm-hmm. Like, I have her location. She knows where I'm at. And we have Ring cameras. Mm-hmm. She came in my house. She did all that. She didn't say, hey, I did something, or hey, your husband contacted me, or you're going to have a surprise. My husband didn't do that either. He did it unprompted. He didn't call me, like, right as I got home, like, to see, like, oh, did you see what I did for you? Mm-hmm. He didn't do the thing that people do, which is like, oh, but I did this. Where are my kudos? And that was probably, like, one of the best parts. It's like, I got to call him, and I had to wait because I knew he was working. And he's on a roof, so he's not going to answer the phone. So I had to wait until I saw that he was back home. And I called him, and I was like, oh, my God, that was, like, the sweetest thing. I was like, how did you even pull that off? And so I think that was one of the greatest things.
I think when guys can figure out how to do stuff without getting the kudos, especially if you can do something small and consistent, and
like the gas that you do for your wife. I'm so jealous. I love it.
Well, and I will tell you, I will give a suggestion to every guy on here. As long as you're true about your feelings, and you are doing it because you want to, and you're not doing it because you want something. Because if you're doing something because you want something, you're creating a contract with yourself, and you're going to get angry about it, and you will soon be mad at your wife or your husband or whoever you do it with. But if you want something that will build consistency and dependability and stuff, you can go get gas for your partner and make sure they never run out of gas consistently. Yeah. And you do it because you want to, because you feel like it's necessary. I do it because right now it's very cold in Washington. I don't want my wife out there in the gas tank. Like, I don't think that she needs to be out there. I think that I can do that. And no matter what happens to our marriage, I'm happy to be able to get gas for her. And if we're married living together, then I'll continue to get gas for her.
You know, I took that and I told my husband, I was like, you know, Kelley does this for his wife. And he's like, good for Kelley. And I was like, I'm done. I was like, this is your job now. And he was like, what? And I was like, I will run out of fucking gas.
Every person that listens to this podcast, they need to go up to their partner, whoever. Maybe you listen to it together, then you need to go up to each other. But someone needs to go ahead and take the reins and be in charge of the gas.
Right. And my thing is like, you and I, we've had this conversation. I'll tell my husband what I want. I went a long time.
Which is rare.
Right. I went a long time not telling people and having like these silent contracts in my brain. Mm-hmm. You're going to do X, Y, and Z, and then I'll do A, B, and C. Mm-hmm. And then being resentful, being not happy, not being fulfilled. And people are like, I don't want to tell my husband or my partner to do X, Y, and Z for me. Okay, then go without. And then there's the whole argument, well, if he wanted to, he would. He will. You're absolutely right. But what if he doesn't know you want that? What if that's like a deep down inside, like childhood thing, or something you're like insecure about, or you have like a vulnerability to, or something you've never shared? You don't want to necessarily like expose it, but you want that need met.
Yeah. And you know something, I think that I would say in general, I'm not saying nothing against some women altogether, but in general, a lot of women don't express because they don't feel safe. They don't feel safe. Yeah, they don't feel safe.
I've been that woman in this relationship.
Yeah. And right now, like, you actually tell your husband what you want, which I have to say, like, when I talk to a lot of women, they're, like, telling me this, like, but Kelley, I've tried telling him, and I was like, no, but you're speaking womanese, and you know.
You're speaking a different language.
Yeah, and it's all like, no, I'm telling him exactly, no, you're saying, and I remember my wife telling me, like, saying something like, trying to tell me something in front of the TV one time, just telling me, and I just remember just being like, yeah, okay, and I just okayed her.
My husband literally told me one day, he goes, you're right, I don't listen to it. If my phone's in my hand, I am not listening to anything you say.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. And now I do this thing where I'll start talking to him, and if he has his phone, he's like, I was like, okay, I'll wait.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, he'll put his phone down, he's like, I'm listening. No, now you are. Because I know that you don't listen if your phone is in your hand.
And it's crazy because guys will learn little secret things because they're like trying to crack this code, and they're learn the attachment styles. They'll be like, oh, you know, my wife is an ancient, you know, she's an anxious
attachment.
Yeah, she's anxious avoidant. And I was like, oh, okay, so what does that do for you? And for guys, that's like, well, now I know she's anxious avoidant, so guys will now like have this plan that they didn't tell her about. And they'll be like, how come the plan's not working? Like,
because you didn't communicate the plan.
Yeah, and you didn't communicate. You thought that she was an anxious avoidant either.
Right. I got in a fight with my husband the other day, and I can't even remember what the fight was about, right? And I remember I got mad enough that I started crying, and I was crying because I knew that, like, I was going to get what I wanted. We're going somewhere. And he's like, I'm not going. And I'm like, yes, you are. And I'm mad that he's telling me he's not going to go with me. And I'm like, you are going to go. And in my head, I'm like, this fight is so fucking pointless because you know and I know you're going to go. And I'm like, yeah, I'm done. And, like, with my husband, I know, like, I just have to walk away sometimes. Mm-hmm. Stop feeding into it because not to lump him into that generalized men, but sometimes you just got to let a man have a moment.
Yeah.
And then we go, and I remember telling him, like, I'm going to be so upset because I'm going to know, like, we were fighting, and I'm going to remember this. And that was, like, not even 2 weeks ago, and I honestly can't even remember why we started fighting.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I think that, and I think you're right. Some guys do need a moment, and a lot of people don't know how in that moment to give people moments. I've been there. I definitely have not given my wife moments before when she needed it, and other people in relationships, you know, and it's a really hard thing to learn.
I've done a lot of work around fighting and like what it is we need when we're fighting, right? It's not always about power and control. It's like we have an unmet need.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, when I talk about fighting and relationships with other people, I often talk about like, you know, these behaviors that people act out aggressively, avoidant, whatever, that's a survival behavior. Yeah. That's an adaptation of a coping skill that they've adopted to get their needs met. And they've learned it works. So it's a conditioned response. So when you have two people who are acting out of survival mode and they're not getting their needs met. And I just learned a long time ago when I decided like, I want, because I mean, you know, me and my husband have been through the ringer. And ever since we got married and we separated after we got married for a little while, what was it, like 6 months or
6 months, yeah.
And I made the determination when we got back together, like, I'm going to put in my all to make this work. And I feel like I have, and we've come leaps and bounds compared to where we were from humble beginnings.
Yeah.
Even when we first got married to now, it's like, and people tell me, like, you guys have really done it. Like, just the other day I was talking to someone, and she's like, I'm just so happy you guys made it. Bitch, we're still building.
Man.
But I tell people, like, you have to learn, right? And so what I've learned with my husband is I can't be aggressive with him when he's like that, because he's in his, I know when to push and I know when to pull. And sometimes that's the hard part, because when we fight, we want to win.
Yeah.
And I don't want to fight.
So are you trying to lead or win? And a lot of guys don't know how to lead in an argument. They don't, and they're waiting for their wife to lead, and it's a really hard thing to like really learn.
Yeah,
it really is. It's easier to it's easier to be mad, angry, frustrated. All the dwarfs, if you're all the dwarfs and everything like that, it feels good.
Yeah.
If you start, and I'll tell you right now, if any guys are listening to this, and they really want to surprise people, like start leading in your relationships and stuff, and you'll see that. And I'll tell you right now, your other person might actually like be upset at first.
I wouldn't be.
They're upset though because they're not used to it, right?
Right, because it's a change and they're not accustomed to it. But I really like that idea. So like, one of the most annoying things that, and me and my husband, when we fight or argue, it's always like the same three things that we fight and argue about, right? Like, where do you want to go eat? What do you want to have for dinner?
Oh man,
what do you want to have? You know. And I remember, like, we saw this one TikTok where they have, like, the little thing, you push it, and it's, like, the little arrow goes around the barn animals. I'm like, we can get that and just put restaurants, and that can decide. And then we send each other TikToks a lot about, like, different local places we want to try. And I'm like, you know what would be really cool? Is instead of asking me where I want, you be like, guess where I'm taking you. And then when I say, oh my God, you're taking me here, you can go, yep. Oh my God, you're so good at this.
And you know, it's great because guys don't really know how to do that.
They
don't.
Know?
And people ask, you know, I've been being queer. People have asked me, what about in lesbian relationships or gay relationships?
Someone has to lead.
Yeah, there has to be a leader within the relationship. It doesn't matter. And guess what? Both of you can lead too. And you just lead in different things.
Yes.
In different ways.
Yes.
And you find that energy between the two people of how you're going to lead.
That's I want to say, like, that's kind of how me and my husband do it. I lead with finances, bills. Like, I'm better at that. Right? And he leads with other stuff. Like
building.
Yeah, look at this.
I suck at building.
Right?
I suck at building anything.
Right, but he, like...
Yeah.
And that's the thing I love about him. When, like, we first got together, he's like, I don't know shit about cars. And then I remember... Because I only ever dated mechanics before him. You had to know how to fucking work on your head. Or I wasn't going to talk to you. And then, like, when we got together, I remember, I think we were together, I had the Lincoln, so we must have been in Puyallup then, the big purple. And something happened, and he drove to the auto parts store and figured it out and fixed it. And I was like, you're fucking hot. and you know, it was like, from then on, like, I know if I need something fixed, built, whatever, like, I can just be like,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, I suck at building things. If you're out there that sucks at building things, that's okay. Just keep on trying to build something.
Right, get friends that can build stuff.
Yeah.
because that's what you do.
I do. I have
but
a lot
shit gets done.
Yeah. And I've actually started building my own stuff now, too, a little bit here and there.
And I will say this, like, the stuff that my husband doesn't know how to do, like, because he's not, like, a huge mechanic person. There's other stuff that he can't do. He has friends. And he figures out how to get that shit done. And I'm like,
And see, that's leading. And a lot of people just don't know how to lead in a relationship.
Just figure shit out.
I think clarity is another thing, too. I talk to a lot of guys. A lot of guys will be confused about what to do. And just when I've done my counseling in the past and stuff, and they'll be like, Kelley, I just don't know. And I'm all like, I don't know what she wants. And I'm like, well, I'm really curious. What's your clarity in the relationship?
Right. Did you ask?
Yeah. I feel like, can you lead without asking? I'm not saying you should be a mind reader. I'm saying, but can you? Can you lead without asking? And some people can't. They're like, nah, Kelley, it's not happening.
I can also appreciate, like, leading without asking. Because the reality is like, if it's me, I'm going to let you know that anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
And there are passive people, people-pleasing people who will just go along to get along, feign, whatever. But how intuitive and emotionally connected are you if you just have a passive partner and you know you're not really meeting their needs?
I think it depends on where you're at in your relationship, right? So, like, I'm separated right now. My clarity is my own. And when you're separated, your clarity is your own. Mm-hmm. And so that's something a guy has to really figure out for himself is what is this clarity? Because a guy who has passion and purpose in life is more attractive than anybody in the room.
And I will tell you, as someone who has known you for going on 13 years, in the last year, and I've watched you, right? Mm-hmm. I've watched you grow and be in relationships and, do all the things that you've done. And I would say in the last year, you've grown immensely. And your persona has changed. Whereas before, I would say you were more, needy and requiring validation.
Yeah.
Whereas now you've, really stepped into it and you don't need external validation.
Well, that's partially because of the weight loss, right? Because I lost, 200 pounds.
Yeah.
I used to be 401 pounds, and now I'm at 198.
I know!
Yeah. And then you lost how much weight yourself?
I'm at 85 pounds down.
Yeah, 85 pounds.
Because I was close to 300, and now I'm 180.
Yeah, exactly. That's fantastic, And when you lose the weight, and I lost the weight through, I did the shot, and I lost 116 pounds. Mm-hmm. And I did weight loss surgery, and I lost other 85 or something pounds. And I'll tell you now, people, when you get that surgery and stuff, people talk about how you change afterwards and stuff, and you feel like a thing just comes off of you, all the weight. And they talk about the weight being like an armor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I never thought about it like that. And I read all the research. Dude, being a counselor, I read all this research all about the weight loss and how it's people consider it armor. And I thought I'd done all the work and everything, and I was all good.
People don't realize how much they can use. They can hide behind their weight. How much they can use food as a coping skill or a coping strategy, and then at the same time use their weight as a way to detach, be avoidant. Oh, I can't do that because I weigh too much.
I couldn't pick up my kid at one point because of my weight. It hurt. It freaking sucked that I couldn't pick him up. Now, I think his last birthday party, we did Dragon Ball Z at that Nerf gun place. I forgot the name of it, but it was awesome. In Auburn or whatever. And I was running around with him. I was shooting the guns, and he had a freaking blast with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet.
And I'll tell you right now, you really want to lead in your relationship. I'll tell you right now, more often than not, when I see a guy, most hetero relationships and stuff, when it comes to birthday parties, I always see the wife taking care of everything. I was like, man, I'll tell you right now, I've had some guys where I've suggested them do something, and their wife freak out on them.
Oh, now you're going into the mental load.
Yeah. And I had a guy who did a birthday party, and his wife got upset that he did it. And because she did it every year. And I was all like, yeah, she's upset because you didn't communicate it with her. Mm-hmm. But also, too, the fact is you did lead. And can you hold it when she says she doesn't feel good, that she didn't feel needed? Mm-hmm. Can you hold that moment right there in that moment and just be like, hey, I can see that you don't feel good about what happened, but, just move forward from it,
Yeah.
But, a lot of guys can't.
Mm-hmm. They really can't. I do want to talk about the mental load because the mental load is a part of where you see exhaustion in relationships that people don't talk about. And this is about the intimacy, right? Like,
I need some visualization here. Okay, so for a lot of guys listening right now, they hear their wife talk about the mental load. They do not know what the fuck that is. They don't. Hundreds of them. Thousands out there right now are listening, wanting to know what the is the mental load.
Okay, it's easy. So how much toilet paper do you have in your bathroom right now?
9 rolls.
Okay, so you carry some of the mental load.
Yeah.
Where are you at toothpaste?
I got 2 rolls.
Of toothpaste?
Yeah.
2 tubes.
2 tubes.
Right. If I, like, randomly called my husband right now and I was like, hey, how much? Versus, like, I know that we have 2 tubs of laundry detergent. We should probably buy some more dryer sheets. I do want to buy more toilet paper, not because we are out, but because we have about a 30-day supply.
And you want to make sure not to run out.
Yes. So the mental load is like all these silent contracts you have within your house to keep your house running smoothly. Because and the reality is a mental load shouldn't be on solely one person. Right? But it is. And I use things like toilet paper, dish soap, laundry soap to describe it. When's the last time you thought to yourself, like, I have to go get these things? So, like, just tonight, you were coming over, right? And my husband's like, well, what are we going to fucking do with dinner for dinner? Is I was supposed to cook lamb. Like, those little lamb chops. Nobody in my house knows how to cook lamb. I say, hey, pull out your phone and open Google. Like, it's that easy. Like, you can Google how the fuck to cook lamb. And he's like,
and you took on the mental load during that time.
He's like, can I just, like, go get something from the store and I'll get you something easy? Because I'm being more strict with the food I eat, right? Because I got off the shot.
Yeah.
And so I was like, no, I have a backup dinner. Like, I'm just going to have fucking chicken and rice with fucking avocado hot sauce. That's my fucking go-to right now. I love it. And he was, like, walking into the dining room, and he said something to my mom, and my mom's like, oh, what do you mean Melanie's not cooking dinner? And he's like, yeah, she's going to go do the podcast stuff, so I'm just going to go to the store and buy some pizza. And my mom's like, we can figure something out. And he's like, listen, I've gotten so spoiled since you moved in, I'm not cooking.
You know, what's crazy is about the mental load is that I remember my wife got this game one time where it was like all these different chores, and then like the husband takes on this and the wife takes on this, and I made a big joke of it, and I didn't really take it serious. But you know, a lot of guys, it's crazy because guys are great strategists. They know how to get things done and they know how to figure it out. And so, like dinner, for whatever reason, that can become and people don't know how to offload their mental load. So instead of like going to you or someone else, like, okay, so dinner is my charge right now. So how the hell am I going to figure out dinner right now? And so I always talk to guys being like, can you just figure it out without talking to the other person? And you know, most guys.
Fucking it.
Yeah, but you know what it is? Most guys will tell you. Like, I remember, I love this story. I had a guy one time who was going to Home Depot and he's buying like paint colors and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But he's calling his wife every other 20 minutes talking about the paint colors, and he doesn't know which one. Well, Kelley, I don't want to like buy the wrong one and then she get angry. So you're not okay with doing something wrong, and you're not okay with just being wrong and then saying, oh man, got the wrong paint, and just going back to the store and doing it again. Why is that such a big upheaval? Why is that? And the guy was just like, man, I don't know. And also too, why did you have to call her like 4 times? Why couldn't you just go get the paint?
I feel like that's a very relatable thing. My husband will go to the store, and I know he will call me. Like,
because they don't want to do the wrong thing.
He'll be like, I'm going to go to the store and get milk.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. And he's like, do you need anything else? Do you want anything? And I'm like, no. And he'll call me at the store, like, are you sure? Like, we don't have this secret contract that if you kind of do, though, right? Kind of do. Like, this is a thing where I wanna have some grace and some understanding, because, like, if my husband goes to the store and he gets himself some of those, like, what are they? Alberta jerky sticks or whatever?
Yeah. Those things are good.
Right.
You're going to want one too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you get a drink. Why wouldn't you get me a drink?
I've done the same thing and said, hey, do you want anything? No. I still go get this. I still get the same stuff, you know? And that's leading no matter what. And so, yes. And a lot of guys are like, yeah, so what if I get it and, like, she doesn't want it, Kelley? And I'm like, oh my God, why is that a problem? Right. I get it though, because I've been there. I've thought the same thing.
That's that anxious thing. I want to be right. I want to do it right. I don't want to make them feel anyway. And I think where that comes from are these fucking phones, right? This constant source of validation, this constant source of gratification. Like, I need that hit of fucking dopamine, man.
No, I agree. No, I agree 100%. And
I want to be told I'm a good boy.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's a hard thing to, like, learn how to, like, just lead. I've talked to some of my guy friends when it comes to relationships. I'm always asking, like, before you talk to your wife, have you ever thought about just saying, why am I saying what I'm saying? You know? And I have to do that, too. Like, okay, so why am I having this conversation? Does it really need to happen?
Right.
Yeah.
What's my motivation here?
Yeah. And so, and I think, like, a lot of guys are actually manipulative and they don't even know it. When they ask a question a certain way.
I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yeah.
I think you're 100% correct when you say that. I think that there is this level of manipulation. And it's denial.
And women do it too.
Absolutely. People do it. They don't realize how manipulative they're being. Right? And it's not just the mama's boys. It's not just the, it's a lot of people do it. And it's this conditioned response.
Yeah. Like, for instance, if you're constantly late for work and your boss comes up to you and it's all like, hey, so tell me how you're coming into work. Wait, so why don't you tell me, like, what work is like when you first get in? So what are you really trying to ask right now? Like, why not just come straight forward and say, hey, I've noticed that you've been late 3 or 4 times. I'd really have the discussion about what's going on.
So that brings out a good point is that the world we live in, we are soft hands.
Yeah.
So much, so often, that being direct is almost like looked at as, you're aggressive. Why are you being so aggressive with me? I'm not being aggressive. I'm being assertive. There's a difference.
Guy friends have seen this.
No, baby, we are not going to text them again. I need you to go outside, touch some goddamn grass, and remember who the fuck you are. We don't chase people to remind them that we exist.
Video of her. And the first thing they say about her is she is aggressive, angry, upset. In the video, she's all like, you need to touch some grass. And some people are like...
So I get that a lot.
Yeah.
Like, you're aggressive. I'm not aggressive. I'm assertive. You're just not used to someone, a female, holding their own with you. You use your size, your space, your whatever to domineer. And I'm not that person. I'm not going to back down.
Yeah.
Sorry about your luck. And I have had consequences for my assertiveness.
Yeah. Well, in the field we work in too, which is generally predominantly female and everything like that, but still it being predominantly...
Well, I mean, you've seen it though, Kelley. Like, the men that are in this field... Not all of them. A lot of the men that are in this field, I want to be very clear when I say this, a lot of men I know that are in this field are very good, very dedicated, very passionate. But there are some men who work in this field, and they're predators hiding in tall grass.
Oh, yeah.
And when they see a female who is assertive, they say they're aggressive.
Yeah.
They, when they push back, they say, see, they're emotional, they're moody, they're like...
That's why women don't trust doctors. And so many... I just
you not tell me that twice.
Yeah, and women especially don't trust doctors because long ago, every time a woman went and saw a doctor, you were hysterical. Right. You're hysterical. And that is still in our medical society. Even women who are doctors treat women who are patients like they're crazy sometimes. Like, oh, you're just hysterical right now.
And if you add in, like, obesity, that's only a problem because you're fat.
Oh, yeah. And
they won't say it like that.
No, they won't. They'll say it really super nice in a way like, well, I'd be really curious if, like, you lost all your weight. If this would go away.
Symptoms would go away.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. Hey, maybe they're telling some truth in that situation.
Sure.
Yeah. But, like, are we doing our due diligence to make sure that it's not just an obesity issue?
But that brings us back to the other point we were talking about, soft hands.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have these direct conversations because we feel like being blunt is not kind.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not saying you should be blunt, but, what is that saying? Oh, my God. Truth without compassion is brutality. You can tell the truth and you can say to someone like, hey, I've noticed you're late. Is there something going on? Do you want to have a conversation?
And how do you
you
know, and you have to learn how not to take things personal.
Right.
You know?
But that's hard in the world we live in because we've made it okay to personalize things.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the gym this morning to sign up for a membership. And this guy, I had a total interaction with him. And I was like, disgusted. He didn't really do anything. It was his tone. It was how he spoke to me. It was very dismissive. And I don't do dismissive, you know, because my own fucking shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked in and I said, hey, I want to sign up. And he handed me a clipboard with a pen and he pointed at where I needed to fill it out. And the phone was ringing. And I didn't think this was rude. You have a job. There's other stuff going on. I'm totally cool. Let me stand here and fill it out. I don't need you to tell me how to fucking fill out a form. Thank you. Right? And as I'm filling it out, he goes, you can go sit over there. There's no one else coming in the doors. And I'm like, do I have to? And he goes, yes. I snatched that paper off that fucking clipboard and crumpled it and walked the fuck out.
Because that was dismissive.
And then I walked back in and I said, what's your name? And he said, why? That's fucking why. Right fucking there. I wanted so much to like tell him about himself and his looks and his this and his that. And right there I knew like I was not angry. This was something else, right? That's that 90-10 reaction. 10% of what I was angry about is what was happening in the moment. 90% was triggered, right? And I'm fucking pissed. I'm like, is your manager here? I'm not cussing at him. I'm not being like over the top. I have a tone. I know I do. And I'm like, is it a policy that I have to sit down? He goes, yeah. I said, oh, is it a written policy? And he goes, no. I said, then it's not a fucking policy. It's a preference. It's a protocol.
Yeah.
It's a process. I said, and I called LA Fitness when I walked out here to find out if it was a policy. Like, am I fucking tripping? Am I just going crazy? Like, you know? And I called my friend, my girlfriend, and she goes, Lainey, are you on your period? And I was like, what does that have to do with anything? And she goes, you are, aren't you? And I was like, I'm coming off of it, yes. And she goes, yeah, because that's not the Lainey I know. Where was your kindness? Where was your compassion? Where was your understanding? And I was like, that he was rude to me. And I go back inside, I meet with the manager, and I sign up, and he's like, you know, and I said, what's that guy's name? Because now I really want to know. Like, that irks me. Like, he should not, he isn't a customer-facing role. He has to tell me his name. Like, I'm going to be a member of this gym. I want to greet him every morning when I come in with his first name. And I learned his name, and I'm like, of course, that's his fucking name. And I was like, you know, I'll own it. Like, maybe I misunderstood his tone. And the manager was like, no, you don't have to do that. That's not on you. And I was like, no, I think part of it is on me. You should definitely give him some customer service training, like how to not be so dismissive and maybe like give his name when people ask, like, because he isn't a customer facing role. I said, but I own a part of that interaction.
Yeah.
And then I thought about it and I realized, like, growing up, that was it. Like, I was dismissed a lot. It was, you know, and fucking if you ever do that to me, I swear to God, do that. And, you know, that's what I felt like in the moment. Like, I'm here to spend my hard-earned money and give it to your establishment so that I can use your shit to hold myself accountable to this whole thing that I'm doing with my health. And you're just like, you can go sit down.
Well, you know, think about when you were a kid, or most women in your age group even, when you were a kid, how were women really talked to growing up?
You were to be seen and not heard.
Yeah, and people would say, "Oh, that's all kids." That's just not true. When I grew up in the South, and I grew up in North Florida, and that's like lower part of Alabama. I'll tell you now, women and men were definitely treated differently, and you know, men were treated as like kings, and women were not treated as queens. Women were treated to, you know, be quiet, not talk, you know, seen, not heard.
Don't be sassy.
Yeah, and so then you get dismissed, and then you get dismissed when you grow up, and then you just keep, and then that becomes part of the pattern. And then your children learn what being dismissed looks like, and then you get upset. Now you're a little more visibly upset because you understand that you're being dismissed, and you're like, and I'm not going to take it.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know how I am. I try to have grace. I try to have understanding. Like, the phone was ringing. He was trying to help people. And I get, like, they probably don't want you standing at the desk. And I told this to the manager. I said, you probably don't want me standing there because, like, you have other people coming in. You have people here. You have people leaving. You have people checking in. Like, I get it. I don't want to sit.
Yeah.
I'm at a gym. And he's like, yeah, but by the time you would have sat down, the other guy would have came and got... Exactly. So I wouldn't have even had time to fill out the form.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be efficient. This desk was, like, perfect, like, this level. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't want to go sit down. By the time I stop writing, I go sit down, I start writing, I stop writing, I get up, I go sit down, I start writing. He's asking me questions, I'm not writing. Then I'm trying to rush to fill out the form. Then he's like, you know what, I'll just input it all anyways. What the fuck is the form for?
What is the form for?
So that they don't have to ask you for all the shit. Mm-hmm. And the manager made a joke. He's like, yeah, he's inputting everything. He goes, all these questions were on the form. And I go, yeah, it's crumpled up on the back of the seat of my car. It's still there.
Oh, man.
But I did shake the guy's hand. I said, let's start over. Like, maybe it was me, maybe it was you. You know, we all have moments where we misinterpret one another.
Yeah.
And he was like, I think he was surprised. Because I walked out and walked in like 3 different times. I was like, I'm not going to drive home. I came to sign up for a fucking gym membership. And I'm fucking leaving here with this gym membership. I want this gym membership.
Oh, shit, I haven't been recording.
Shut the fuck up.
That could be all the bloopers.
Right? Oh, shit. But yeah, I don't think, like, in the moment that I realized that the trigger was him being dismissive. Mm-hmm. Because I knew that it was how he talked to me, and I remember I was like, he talked to me like I was a fucking dog. Go sit down. You
know, just like in recovery, right? How many times when drinking or using or something, how easily you just get dismissed, you know? You know, right next to my work, there's a homeless guy there, where I work at. And I saw him the first time. He's like the only homeless guy over there. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, I'm going to go talk to him. I wonder if anybody's talked to him about services that we have and stuff, you know? And so I went over there and talked to him. I said, hey, what's up? My name's Kelley. He said, my name is such and such. I said, hey, man. I was like, hey, so if anybody talks to you about not being able to be here, I said, you just let them know you talked to Kelley and ask them to have me come out here and I'll talk to you. Okay? And he was like, okay. And I noticed he had propane tanks. I was like, all right, man. So let's talk about propane real quick. And I was just like, are you being safe with it? Can we please make sure? He's like, yeah, man, I do this and I do that. So, okay, that's cool. And, you know, all I did was just treat him like a human being for the 5 minutes, you know?
Which matters.
It matters. And
it matters so much. I tell people all the time, 9 times out of 10, like, when people are escalating, you just have to validate them. Mm-hmm. You don't have to agree with them. You don't have to disagree. Validate them. Yeah. Listen to them. Hear them. Treat them like a friggin' human.
Yeah.
I get it. And you know, it's funny because when you and I used to work together, I used to say to you all the time, like, don't fucking placate me. I fucking can't stand that shit. Right? And I get it now. It wasn't about placation. Mm. It was about, you know, just like, I get it. Like, I totally see that. That would suck for anybody, right? I want to help you. Like, let's figure out a solution. That's not placating. Mm. But I come from this very, like, self-serving, like, have to do it on my own, have to figure it out, blah, 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 whatever, fill it in, right? That to me was placating. And it took me so long to learn, like, that's not, you were just trying to, like, meet me on neutral ground.
Yeah. Well, and also, too, I mean, working with you, it was, you know, you're definitely somebody who wants, like, when someone gives a wholehearted, like, you know, good job, you want, like, it backed up, good job as evidenced by.
Yeah.
You know?
Because I don't, you're a rock star. Everybody says that.
Yeah.
That's not fucking real. You're not a rock star 9 times out of 10, and I've been with people, and I've watched people who they do that, bosses who do that. Oh my God, you're a rock star. You're a rock star. It makes you feel really good. And then you see people who do, like, half-ass effort, and your boss tells them they're a rock star, and you're like...
Yeah, and I've seen that in the field, and I've seen that in a lot of leadership places, and I don't do that. I don't walk around talking about...
You don't, and I do appreciate that.
Yeah, I do talk about sometimes how hard something can be. I'm like, man, I just learned this whole process that you're doing. This is phenomenally sucks. How can we make this a whole lot easier? Because this is not good.
Right.
Yeah, and so, Yeah, going around and saying people are rock stars really doesn't do anything as a leader.
It doesn't.
Yeah, and if any leaders are listening to this, I always tell them like,
stop.
Yeah.
Stop right now.
Yeah, and you're not elevating your team.
You're not.
Yeah.
You're not building them up. You're not giving them kudos. I remember I worked at that one mom and pop shop, and getting an attaboy from my boss was like the hardest. He did not just go out and hand out fucking accolades like they were candy. And so when you got an attaboy, it was like, you did it.
Yeah.
You did it.
I would say the only time I ever give like routine attaboys is probably to my management team.
Yeah.
They're the only ones where I routinely, and here's the deal is there's nothing, and if you do something good, I say, how come it was good? Well, yeah, hey, you handled that situation. Looks like it sucked, and you did a good job of handling it. That's great.
I say things like, you should be proud of yourself. I would be if I were me.
Yeah.
You know, I want to acknowledge what you did, but that validation should be internal. We're just two people having authentic conversations, healing through the mess and trying to carry a message. So if you want a part of that, pull up a chair.